Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I hope you're all having a lovely day. You 100% deserve it. Today we're hopping into the commonplace, and we're not finishing the page we're working on because we're learning to accept that not all pages need to be finished, by the end of the video. We're trying to create a little more consciously. But we are also doing a little bit of work on an older page, just adding like a book review, and we're going to be playing with some books. And I want to show you kind of how I interact with my books in a way that I personally have never seen before. It's like annotating, but a little, maybe one step too far, I don't know. But we are starting with this page. Again, I'm trying to reuse a lot of the things I already have printed out, but it just didn't really work out. The things I've collected, I'm finding I'm not really using, so we might have to purposely, create pages for them. Those little photos are thrifted from a shop in Savannah, Georgia, like a vintage, like those are someone's like actual photos. I don't know, they were like 50 cents a pop. And I just can't, they're special to me, so I feel like I need to find something, like somewhere special to put them or something. I don't know. I tried this stamp for a little bit. The piece today is about lilacs. It's another Tumblr post of this really sweet story of someone who essentially saved a lilac plant and has watched it bloom and grow over the years as she saved it. And then this little sword picture we do end up using. These little drawings are by Spit Blossoms. You can find them on Tumblr and on Instagram. And they're the same things that my little sheet of fairies are. It's the same artist. And speaking of a little shortly, you might see a little interjection. I actually filmed this while my boyfriend was in the room, which was a first for me. I've never filmed anything with anybody in the room ever. And I've done YouTube on and off for like 5 years. So it was really interesting to have him come over and kind of interject and kind of comment and interact on commonplace pages, especially because it's not something he knows about or anything he does. Or knows even what it is. He just knows that it's like this silly little journal that makes me feel better about my mental health. So yeah, I don't, it's coming up soon, I can see, so I don't want to say anything. So everyone, temporarily from a distance, meet my boyfriend, I guess.
Is that your little paper of fairies?
Yeah.
So this is where you got the little one with the little butt.
The one with the little butt, yeah.
Were these stamps?
No. I'll show you eventually what they
This
are.
is your most recent one that has the little butt.
It's, this one.
Yeah, the little butt.
Yeah. Yeah, so he really liked my little fairies, which I like them too. I think they're really cute. I love them. I use them on like every page. So, yeah, that was him. The infamous him, I guess. Yeah, it was really sweet. I did a little bit of a different layout for this page as well. Usually when I take an article that takes up kind of like more than one page, I always put the second pages, towards the top, to make it seem like the same, but I put it at the bottom here again. I kind of liked how last week the weight of the page was on the bottom. So I kind of tried to do something similar here. I have no idea what I'm gonna put on top. I'm gonna have to find like a really short article or something, kind of short and sweet, or maybe some art, maybe a receipt. I've been seeing a lot of commonplace books and kind of like junk journals, especially on Instagram. Follow me at Raining Tulips. And I've been seeing people use them. Yeah, like they put tickets in, they put receipts in, they put stickers, coffee orders, and I'm just not someone who's ever really done that. I will occasionally stick like a little Polaroid size photo into my like diary journal, but not really in my commonplace. And I don't know, maybe I need to start, because a lot of the things that are in my commonplace book are kind of timeless. They're not really, I think that I've only put like one kind of daily entry in there that was like relevant to what I was doing around that time. Yeah, they're all pretty timeless. They don't necessarily follow any like category, but my diary journal obviously does. It follows my day-to-day life, so maybe, but I like that one is like plain and just big giant blocks of text a lot of the time, so maybe I need to bring it into my commonplace journal. I don't know. You guys let me know. Do you include things like receipts and tickets and little pay stubs and, I don't know, little photos of your daily adventures in your commonplace book? Do you use it like a junk journal, or do you keep it strictly commonplace and like not very personal? Like, do you have something separate for that? Please let me know. I'd like to know. Maybe I should try it. It's one of those things where like I will eventually scrapbook. I think in one video, maybe it was my journal system, which I filmed maybe back in November, I talked about how I have like formal scrapbooks, where like every 4 or 5 years I will take like my favorite moments, and most important moments, and I'll put them into like a formal scrapbook. And I think I talked about in that video that I wanted something for a more casual junk journal scrapbook, which I still haven't done, which I guess maybe perhaps I need to do. I've been doing a lot of stuff this year. Even my iPhone has told me that my daily number of steps has gone up on average by like a lot. So I'm doing a lot of things this year, and I know I've said it before, I'll say it again. This year has been a lot of change for me, and I think it's going to be a time that I'm going to want to look back on a lot in life, and I'm trying to capture as many details as I can and remember to journal as often as I can, because I can just imagine that my older self will like to look back on this, or like if I have children, or my niece when she's older, I feel like it might be helpful for her to go back and read about how I was feeling. Again, I moved across the country for a boy. I had to change jobs. I lost a job right before I moved, which always seems to be how it is for people. I've heard that's like an extremely common experience, which I find is really weird, and that seems to happen to people. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I really also want to start a garden journal. I'm keeping tomatoes for the first time ever in my life, and I'm growing marigolds from seeds. I don't know why I thought that they would like bloom in time to help keep pests off my tomatoes, because like they're supposed to be companion plants. But I have tomatoes forming, and my marigolds are still like only like 2 inches tall. But I kind of did an experiment with the seedlings to kind of see what environment they would grow best in, and I'm definitely seeing results. And I know nothing about tomatoes. Again, it's my first year kind of growing them, so I'd really like to I've been trying to take pictures, and kind of noting just in my iPhone for now, kind of the like how long everything's taking, how often I need to water them, how long it was between the flowering and the fruit forming, and that sort of stuff, like pruning. And they don't have cages right now, and I really need to get some. I want to get some sticks. I don't want to buy like an ugly cage. I want to try and make it look like a little rustic. I don't know. So I want to start a garden journal, which I have a notebook that I have a lot of herbalism notes in, and I have a lot of, or like a page on when I had an apartment, mapping the light in my room. So I could probably do like one, the same thing for my balcony. And 2, I could probably just turn that into my garden journal. So yeah, that's another thing on my list. Again, it's just a matter of trying to figure out like how to print stuff, because I don't really like my HP Sprocket. The print quality is really bad. I will link Megan Rion, I'm gonna butcher it, I'm so sorry. Petite Gloom, Megan from Petite Gloom, her video where she tests a bunch of printers. Yeah, you can see that the sprocket is kind of bad in that video, and I have the sprocket, so yeah, I agree. It's bad. Don't get it. Mine was like a secondhand hand-me-down sort of thing, which is why I still use it. But for a garden journal that I want to last a really long time and be high quality, I don't want to do that. And so I probably just need to print some like wallet-size photos. But I don't have a wallet-size photo printer, so and I need to add that on my running wish list, which I also talked about last week. Last week's video was a lot of mental health tips, which I can follow up on and say that they're still working. I am learning that I have to be extremely intentional about how I spend my days off and how I spend my free time now. especially when I'm in this period of kind of change and adjusting and coming down from having a lot of stress. It's, it's slowly getting better. But yeah, so that's kind of the main takeaway. It seemed that video, even at least one person left a comment saying they needed it, and in that case, I think my job is done. I think that is why we as humans need to share more and talk more and be more vulnerable, is because even if it resonates with one person or makes one person feel better or see or feel heard or feel seen, then you did something good and you made an impact in the world. So yeah, just trying to be extremely intentional about how I'm spending my free time and my days off, and also not forcing myself to do anything, not forcing myself to finish meals, which I was talking about with my boyfriend's mom's friend. We were kind of having like a little woman chat and we were talking about that, of like not forcing ourselves to finish plates, if they're full, or if we are full, or not forcing ourselves to eat cake if we don't want it, that sort of thing. So we've can't talk we have flipped back to a page that I'm actually really happy about. I really liked that it was black and white, so I printed out this book cover in black and white. This was the book I was talking about last week, called The Stranger in the Woods by Michael, I think it's pronounced Finkel. So I'm just adding my review here. Again, it was more of like a black and white cover. There was a little bit of red, I think, in the actual version, but I just printed it out black and white. And I think it fit nicely here. I had intended to put a book review in this column, which is why I left it blank, but I was in a reading slump. So this is the book that got me out of the reading slump, so here we are. And I also wanted to talk about kind of how I was talking about not finishing or forcing myself to finish food if it's still on the plate and I'm not hungry anymore. Also not forcing myself to finish books. You don't have to finish a book if you don't like it, and you don't have to read every single day to consider yourself a reader or to feel productive. I don't know if any booktubers have ever talked about that. Or it's really easy, especially with booktube and bookstagram being a little bit bigger on social media right now, thinking that these people are reading every day of their lives, or they're spending like a couple hours a day reading. That's not how it is. It doesn't have to be that way. I shouldn't feel bad about myself just because I didn't pick up a book. Like today is one of my days off. I'm finishing editing this video. I made a plan for myself. I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch a Tinkerbell movie because my inner child has really been wanting to watch Tinkerbell. I'm going to make some really good dinner and I'm going to enjoy it. And then I'm going to play The Sims. I'm not forcing myself to write, even though I really want to and I miss writing. I think I just need to play a little bit more and maybe just play with words and kind of journal a little bit more before I get back into writing. I'm someone who kind of waits for that strike of inspiration to come, and it's not here right now, and that's okay. And reading wasn't on that list today, and I felt bad for a second. I was like, wait, I like reading. I'm in the middle of a book I'm enjoying. Why didn't I think to put that on my list of plans? And it's okay. I don't have to read every day to be productive. I don't have to read every day to consider myself a reader, or just because I enjoy reading doesn't mean I have to do it every day. Just because you enjoy commonplacing doesn't mean you have to do it every day. It's kind of just like a listening to your body and your mind and figuring out what it wants, when it wants it, and indulging in your impulses and stuff like that. Like I said, my inner child has really been wanting to watch Tinkerbell, so that's what I'm going to watch. I'm freaking 24 years old and I'm going to be watching Tinkerbell movies while I eat my dinner. That's okay, because my inner child wants to. I'm going to indulge in that. Nothing is childish. Let me just add that as a preface. If you have an interest in something, it's not childish. Me and my boyfriend were also talking about this the other day. I was like, wow, you still use Legos. That's a childhood interest of yours. And we were talking about Lego and Halo and how he liked that when he was little. And he kind of blinked at me and he goes, they're not childhood interests. They're just interests. Same with me and Tinkerbell and The Sims. They're not childhood interests anymore. They're just interests. And again, you're allowed to indulge in them. You're allowed to not do them every day. You're allowed to do them as often as you want. You're allowed to do them whenever you want, how often you want, etc., etc. You guys get the point. Yep, we're finishing this book review now. And then this little print you see off to the left of the girl with her arms crossed and the fairy with the crown. That is a depiction of a scene from not The Queen of Nothing. I picked up The Queen of Nothing, but it is not The Queen of Nothing. It's a depiction of a scene in The Wicked King by Holly Black, which is part of the Cool Prince series. And one day I'll have to show you my Cruel Prince book, because that one has the most art added in. But what I've been doing lately is if I see fan art that depicts a favorite scene of mine, or a scene, or just like I really like the way they depict that character, I print it out and I tape it into my book using washi tape. I got really lucky. I actually flipped like straight to it when I finally realized. I was like, wait, I'm looking at The Queen of Nothing and it's in The Wicked King. But I flipped like almost right to it. So this one, I'll link the artist down below. I think it's illustrated by Han. I really like all of her. She does a lot of Cassandra Clare art, I think, and a lot of Cruel Prince art. And I really like it. I just think it's super cute. So that's what I've been doing, is I've just been kind of taping them in. That way when you read the book, honestly, it makes it so much more enjoyable. I picked up The Cruel Prince while I was in Oklahoma after I had started like taping things into it and highlighting. And it was like so much more fun to read. Like, it was already fun to read, but having all my little annotations and my tabs of like, this is how this character's falling in love with this character, and then to have actual depictions of like your favorite scenes and your favorite characters as you're flipping through is just really nice. It's really wholesome. I just stick them in using washi tape. I wouldn't use like actual tape because it will probably rip if you need to move it. I use washi tape because it's kind of like semi-permanent. I've lifted a picture up before and it kind of took a little bit of the page, but like it didn't leave a hole or anything like substantial. So that's why I use washi tape. I use it to annotate as well. I use a thinner washi tape to annotate. I don't like the thick kind. And then of course I use like the little flags that everyone else uses to annotate my books. But this is just a fun way to kind of engage with your reads, your favorite books, your favorite childhood favorites. And yeah, so that is it for today. I hope you guys have a lovely, lovely day, because you 100% deserve it, and I will see you next time.